Hello, everybody, and welcome to, I guess I kind of want to say welcome back. This is going to probably be a yearly thing now. It's been by the time this releases, it's been a year since the last one. And I always do this. I'm always like, what is it? You guys are waiting for me to tell you what it is, and you've seen the title, so you obviously know what it is. Today, we are talking about my top 10 movies of 2023 and my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024. I'm very excited to do this. I really liked doing it last year. If you didn't see that video, go check out my video from 2022 and see what movies I loved. And I'm gonna just talk through this part. I'm probably not gonna show any footage from my previous video. It's probably just going to be my new background on screen here. It's what it is. But anyway, I want to go over my top 10 choices from last year first. Because I would like to go over my opinions on them. If they're in my top 10 or if they're possibly going to be talked about, I won't talk about them as much. I'll talk about the ones I can guarantee I won't mention elsewise in this video. So here we go. The number 10 slot I had in 2022 was Knock at the Cabin. This movie is very close to the bottom of the barrel for me. It is the second lowest film of the year for me. It is so far down on the scale. This movie will not be talked about again. It definitely failed to have my interest this year. I do believe, and I'll mention this, I do believe this upcoming year there's supposed to be another M. Night Shyamalan film coming out in July-ish, a summer release. But I do not know what that film is, and it hasn't been officially announced yet. The only reason that this one was announced was because it was in February of 2023, early release, and that one failed to really be good. It's probably the only M. Night Shyamalan film I will not have in my collection, because even The Happening is so bad it's funny. This one's not even funny. Just in case you haven't seen it, there's a scene where Dave Bautista, now this is Dave Bautista who plays Drax, who used to be a wrestler from my understanding, goes into a bathroom, and the door shuts, and when the characters follow him in there, so there's a tiny window, a tiny circular window, and a curtain for the shower. And the movie tries to make you think, did he go out the window? Did he go out that tiny circular window? Spoiler alert, he didn't. And then lots of other things in the movie. The ending apparently is not the same as the book, and it kind of changes the book from my understanding. So for that one, it does not stand up to the hype of being in my top 10 most anticipated movies of this year. There's definitely a couple movies this year that I did not know was coming out that are definitely in my top 10. So that is exciting. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was my number 9 slot. I enjoyed it. It's also not in my top 10, but I definitely enjoyed it. I didn't think it was terrible. I didn't think it was great, but I enjoyed it for sure. What's next? Sorry, I'm skipping through the video because I'm talking about it in the video. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Great. Amazing film. Enough said about that for now. Okay. The Super Mario Bros. Movie. This is not going to be in my top 10. This is also pretty far down the line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 7 away from the end, so I have 67 movies on my list of new movies that came out this year that I have watched. It is at number 61. This definitely did not stand up to my anticipation of what this movie was. There's a lot of reasons why I disliked it, but we're not here for that. So just did not live up to what I was hoping it would end up being, which is unfortunate, but it happens sometimes. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is the next one. Higher than the Mario movie, but it still was kind of disappointing. This was the way I was viewing this before it came out, was this was going to be a pivotal point in the MCU. This was before the MCU slowed down. This is before next year we're only having one MCU movie. And so much This was supposed to be a very big point for the MCU, and I was excited for another Ant-Man movie, and I enjoyed it more thanks to Mr. Long Shlong on YouTube, Twitter, not Twitch, Twitter, who I've made mention of before. Really, was sharing praise for what he liked about the film, and I ended up watching it a second time, and I actually liked it more than I did the first time, despite my problems. Still not in my top 10, but definitely better the second watch than the first watch for me. Saw 10, absolutely love the film. Absolutely love it. We'll get back to that later. I'm just being blatantly honest at this point. Definitely lived up to the hype. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, not in my top 10. Where is it lying? Is that number 28? So it's toward the top half. Indiana Jones is 30, by the way, which is around centered. Sometimes, and by the way, sometimes some of these movies just kind of fall down more because there's other movies I like more. And that's just kind of what it is, because when I started this list, it wasn't like that. I was expecting some movies to stay in my top 10, and it didn't happen. So, but Shazam! Fury of the Gods, a fun movie, not in my top 10, but I definitely liked it more than most people did. Would probably be my second favorite movie of, my second favorite DC movie of last year, probably. I liked Aquaman 2, but that'd probably just squeak under it, in my opinion. I like Shazam 2, so that's just me, though. The next one is Scream 6. Scream 6? Great. Fantastic movie. Love it. Next. TMNT Mutant Mayhem. Not in my top 10, but it is very close at number 17. I wanted it to get in there. So this is kind of a special shout out too in this video. Definitely was really good. I liked a lot about the film. I can't remember, there was a couple of things I didn't like, but it was so minuscule. I really, really liked it. I can't wait for another one. I was so happy that TMNT got a spotlight for a little bit, It's one of those franchises that doesn't get that much spotlight. We don't get many movies of it. So it's very cool to see that it got one. And that it was successful. I mean, only a couple more million than its budget, but it was successful. So, very nice. And it didn't follow Shredder around at the start. I don't even know, the Shredder's not in the movie, so it was nice to see a movie without Shredder. And then hopefully they'll bring him in the future. And the last one is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Absolutely love that film. We'll get back to that one later as well. Okay. And that wraps up my top 10 most anticipated films of 2023 from my last video. And we are here now going on to my top 10 movies of 2023 and my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024. So first off, I am including streaming movies in this list. I was lucky and I was able to watch a couple of these in theaters. In some rare instances. I won't say which ones. I only have a couple on my list, though. I think I have some more further down, but I won't be mentioning those. They're not even in the honorable mentions. So keep that in mind. But either way, I will be including those this year. And my most anticipated ones of next year will only be theatrical releases and only confirmed theatrical releases. We do have some honorable mentions that are also kind of like possible upcoming ones, but we'll get there. So we're going to start with honorable mentions for 2023 that did not make it onto my top 10 list, but I want to mention for one reason or another. First, we're going to start with Retribution. Retribution is a Liam Neeson movie that came out in August and, pun intended, blew me away when I first saw it. It's one of those movies that takes place, and this one takes place inside of a car for about 90% of the runtime, probably more like 95% of the runtime. And it's very intense, And overall, it is very, it keeps you in the movie. I really like the movie. And overall, seeing Liam Neeson in another role as he gets older, and for them to be able to come up with such a unique take on an action film. And I won't say a spoiler, but normally there's a lot of gun shooting, and there really isn't in this film, which is why it's also unique. As well as Liam Neeson's normally the one on the other end of it, firing at people, and he doesn't really do that. And I'm being vague. Sorry, every time I start recording, I start yawning. Anyways, I'm being vague on purpose, so keep that in mind. But really good movie. Awesome. Next honorable mention is Leo. Leo is an animated feature starring Adam Sandler. It came to Netflix about a lizard, 74-year-old lizard who's been stuck in a Florida classroom, and he ends up giving advice to kids who are anxious and that they have their own problems. With his life experience, he's able to talk. They don't really explain the talking, but he's able to talk to them and give them his life experience. And overall, a really fun movie, and I really, really liked it. And seeing Adam Sandler in a musical where he still can show off his comedic elements, but also have it be kind of like pulling the heartstrings, also being animated, and we don't get a lot of animated features. Like sometimes we get animated features, but like it's hard to say. We don't really get them. Out of everything, I think they're more rare. At least this year, it felt more rare than horror movies did. We got a lot of horror movies, but animated features really don't happen that often, and it's because only very select animated features do really well. So it was awesome to see. Next is going to be Elemental. Elemental, not in my top 10, but just squeaks by at number 13. Really good Pixar film. I really liked it. The trailer was garbage, but the movie itself was actually really, really good, and I actually really, really liked it. Heart-wrenching, sweet, fun. A very good movie. Next two are both Doctor Who Wild Blue Yonder and Doctor Who The Star Beast. Both of these are in the 60th anniversary specials of Doctor Who that had been releasing from the start, sometime in November into December. Actually, it was probably the last week in November and then 2 weeks into December, and then skip 2 weeks to Christmas for the Christmas special. And both Star Beast and Wild Blue Yonder, I like Wild Blue Yonder more. They both just squeak by at number 14 and number 15. Both great episodes, special Doctor Who films that were made for the 60th anniversary, starring David Tennant as the Doctor, and amazing. Love them both. Great to see Donna Noble back. Really, really, really good. Next one, Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle is my 16th. Again, also scraping by there. Pretty high on the list. Probably my favorite DC film of this year was Blue Beetle. Not to say too much, but I really did like Blue Beetle. There's a lot to offer in there. I've heard it's not too accurate to the comics, but I'm going to be honest, nowadays, a lot of comic book movies are not accurate to the comics, and it's what it is. It's what it is at this point. So, Creed 3, great movie. Unfortunate about Jonathan Majors being who he is, and that it came out as him being guilty. If you haven't heard about that, look it up. But he does put on a very good performance in the movie alongside Michael B. Jordan. And I really enjoyed it. I kind of want to watch it again. It's been a while, but I really liked that movie. Mafia Mama is a smaller film that came out in April, starring Toni Collette, and she inherits her grandfather's mafia empire, and she doesn't really want it, but she's kind of forced into being the new head of the family business, and it is takes place in Italy, and it has, like, beautiful scenery in the movie. Sorry about that. Beautiful scenery in the movie, wonderfully acted, funny movie, and I highly enjoyed Mafia Mama more than I thought I would when I went to see it. Next one is a movie currently in theaters, Migration. Migration's not doing too hot right now, but overall, I actually really, really liked the film, including the Vector short, Despicable Me Vector short in front of it. I liked all of it. The baby girl duck is hilarious. The art style is good. The voice acting is good. I don't know. I highly enjoyed it. It could have been a little bit better. Not much, though. I gave it 4.5 stars. I need to rewatch it at some point because I definitely didn't think that it was going to be like that. But very, very good movie. And then some quick one-offs. Paw Patrol: The Mighty Movie, actually not too bad. I know it's not everyone's favorite, but it's there. Dumb Money, shockingly good, more than I thought so. Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, amazing way of being able to do a cliffhanger without it making it feel like a cliffhanger. I will say that. Merry Little Batman, which was a Christmas special Batman. I like it because it was a unique Christmas special. I don't think, though, that it was the best thing ever, but definitely not terrible. And I think that's about to do it. I can talk about some other movies. Oh, I do want to mention, we'll talk about one movie later, but I want to talk about this movie now and get it out of the way. Barbie is not in my top 10 movies of this year. I did not love it as much as a lot of people in the world did. It was enjoyable for the 2 watches that I had, but it is not something I'm going to rewatch or probably buy again in the future. It is actually pretty low on my list of movies. I have it out of 67 currently, which I could still watch another movie before the year's out, at least one, if not multiple. There's several movies I still want to watch that came out this year. I just don't know if I'll be able to watch it before the end of the year. It is sitting at 51 out of 67. It is very low on my list. I know that probably will be kind of one of the standoff things currently. And by the way, I'm using Letterboxd. I have a list on Letterboxd. It's very low on my list. And yeah, I want to keep that in mind. Which one is it? Okay. So yeah, just keep that in mind, but it's not really gonna be one that I'm gonna talk about in this video after this point. And last quick one that I wanted to say is Cocaine Bear. Stupidly funny movie, except for one thing I didn't need to see, but it's a funny concept based slightly off of a true story, where a bear found such material in the woods and decided to eat it. In real life, the bear had passed away. In the movie, the bear goes on a rampage. And it's a fun, silly, lighthearted movie directed by Elizabeth Banks. And, yeah. Quite funny. Okay. Anyways, we are going to now move on to my top 10 movies of 2023. And actually, I'm going to do top 12 movies of 2023. I did top 11. I did top 11 last year. I still labeled it top 10, but it was top 11. So I'm going to start with top 12, and I have a particular reason for that. So number 12 is going to be Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. The reason why I wanted to start at 12 is because this movie is highly underrated in my opinion. It flopped at the box office this year, which was one of 2 DreamWorks movies that came out this year, I believe. It came out in June, and it failed at the box office, like drastically failed at the box office. Was it June? Was it June? Yeah, June 30th, in the USA. And, it follows a kraken, who lives on land and doesn't know that she's, like, a powerful royalty kraken. And it just follows her through her realization and acceptance and becoming who she's kind of meant to be, but also not. It's a little complicated, but I really like it. It's a cute movie. It's a fun movie. It's very well made. And also, I find it hilarious because this came out the same year as The Little Mermaid. And the mermaid in this movie is not good. And I find that hilarious, especially because this trailer played on The Little Mermaid when I saw The Little Mermaid. And I always find it funny that the movie where the mermaid is bad played in front of Disney's The Little Mermaid, which is about a good mermaid. So, but overall, I really liked the film. And just to like show you how much I actually like this film, I bought it digitally very shortly after it came out digitally on 4K. And I bought the Blu-ray copy of it, and it doesn't have a 4K copy because it failed at the box office, so it's not getting a 4K physical copy. But I bought the 4K digital copy and the Blu-ray copy when that was on sale, granted, the Blu-ray copy. But I really liked the movie, and I wanted to support DreamWorks, and I enjoy that movie. Number 11 is going to be John Wick Chapter 4, which, by the way, I believe John Wick Chapter 4, so Teenage Kraken I have at 5 stars, John Wick Chapter 4 is at 4 stars, but the way I kind of did this ranking is of enjoyment, and John Wick Chapter 4 overall is more enjoyable to me than Teenage Kraken is, just slightly. There's different reasons that I've rated these, and it's what it is, but just so you're aware. John Wick Chapter 4 is the 4th installment in the currently Chapter 4 Blackout. Is it actually called Blackout? I don't think it's meant to be called Blackout. It's just called Chapter 4. Chapter 3 had a subtitle. Chapter 4 does not have a subtitle. It's weird. But with John Wick on his head with the price on his head ever increasing, John Wick uncovers a path to defeat the High Table, but before he can earn his freedom, Wick must face off against a new enemy with powerful allies. Bill Skarsgård, by the way, he played Pennywise in It, and he's in this movie, and this man is incredible again, playing another very distinct character. Keanu Reeves is great. Lauren Fishburne is great. Ian McShane also great. Lance Reddick, rest his soul, also great. I really liked him in these movies. I'm glad that he was able to be in one more. But overall, this movie is a very enjoyable film. And a lot of people give it 5 stars. I have it at 4. I'll have to rewatch it. But John Wick Chapter 4 was really an impressive movie. There's some cool cinematography in the movie, and I love the ending. It was long, and it doesn't feel long, which is also really nice. But overall, I really enjoy that movie. Okay. Now on to my top 10 officially, when we're almost a half hour into this video. Number 10 goes to Doctor Who, The Church on Ruby Road. This is the Christmas special that came out on December 25th at 12:55 p.m. EST. I think it was 1:55 in England, Britain. Weird. But anyways, long ago on Christmas Eve, a baby was abandoned in the snow. Today, Ruby Sunday meets the doctor stolen babies, goblins, and perhaps the secret of her birth. This is really it's a coming back for Doctor Who. I'm currently watching Jodie Whittaker's series. I am on the series 12 now. I just finished the first New Year's special, which is a really weird thing to do. I'm guessing all of hers are New Year's specials and not Christmas specials. New Year's Day is a very weird thing to choose because the Christmas specials, you can have like snow, and this one isn't full snow in it. There are sections of it though, but it's like the atmosphere of a Christmas special allows you to use the visuals of snow, and that's a very unique visual. And personally, I really like that. And Ncuti Gatwa is his name. The N is silent, I guess, because it's Ncuti Gatwa, Gatwa. Ncuti Gatwa is the 15th Doctor, 15th, and he fits the role like a bill. I love him. He was in Sex Education on Netflix, and he's a really good actor. Actor. I don't know what I'm speaking like. Actor. And overall, I really enjoyed him in the role. I can't wait to see more of him. And Millie Gibson as Ruby. Ruby something. Her first name's Ruby. I don't remember her last name. But she was really cool, and I think she's gonna make a amazing companion going forward. But I highly enjoyed this, and I cannot wait to see more, as he really fits the Doctor for me. And after I took a long time between Tennant and Smith, and then loved Smith, and I was like, okay, I like Capaldi. I'm excited to see him in the role, because I know he can do a really good job, and I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. Number 9 is a very big movie of the year, Oppenheimer. The story of J. Robert Oppenheimer's role in the development of the atomic bomb during World War II. Now, here's the thing. When I heard that Barbie and Barbenheimer was going to be a thing, I'm like, no one's going to go watch Oppenheimer. And I was like, I don't think Oppenheimer's going to be that big of a movie. It has a big cast, but I'm like, doesn't seem that interesting. I will be happy to admit I am wrong. This movie is 3 hours at the very least. And it also was like, really, like, I was enthralled by the movie. I don't know how else to describe it. Even though it's history, like, I think that's part of it, is that it's history, so you're okay with sitting through it. You're not like rushing through it. You're okay with sitting there and watching this history unfold. And having Robert Downey Jr. show back up in a movie was really nice. Seeing Matt Damon show back up. I believe Matt Damon came out of retirement because he said he would only come out of retirement if it was to do a movie with Christopher Nolan. So I don't think he's going to show up in another movie anytime soon. But it was really nice to see him again. And Robert Downey Jr. as well. Kenneth Branagh was really nice to see. And there's a couple of other people. Emily Blunt. Florence Pugh. Rami Malek. All of them were really great to see, and I'm so glad they were in the movie, and I enjoyed it. The only thing that I'm upset about, and a lot of people aren't going to care, but I do, is, in case you don't know a lot about sound design in movies, and audio channels in particular, there's typically 3 ways or 3 types of audio design for a movie in, like, how it's exported and presented in theatrical format or at home, and that being 5.1 sound, 7.1 sound, and Dolby Atmos. Typically, you have DTS and some things like that, but typically nowadays it's 5.1, 7.1, and there's varying versions of that. DTS is in there, but 5.1, 7.1, and Dolby Atmos. And the one thing I don't like about this movie is the audio track is only 5.1. There is no Dolby Atmos audio track, which is normally one of the benefits of having premium large format theaters, things like IMAX, Dolby Cinema, and different branding, 4K theaters, Dolby Atmos theaters, things like that. And it didn't have that. And still to this day, that's the only thing that annoys me. I give it 5 stars, so I'm not letting that impact my review of the movie itself. And a lot of people do not care, but for me, it is something that I will always remember. Okay, number 8 is a movie I really don't want to talk about after recent things. You can look up a bunch of details on why I feel this way, but this franchise is probably dead in the water, and I kind of hope it stays there, at least for a couple years at this point, which is very unfortunate because it was on a comeback. But Scream 6, following the latest Ghostface killings, the 4 survivors leave Woodsboro behind and start a fresh chapter in New York City. Loved it. There's not much to say about it without spoiling it, but the acting was amazing. I loved it. I loved the killer reveals. I loved everything about it. I loved all of it. 7 is not happening as of now, because they decided to do something dumb and fire Melissa, playing the main actress, because she made comments about Palestine and supporting not doing genocide. I don't want to get into political stuff, but she left, and then shortly after, Jenna Ortega said she had scheduling conflicts, which I think she was just waiting. She was trying to make it work because she really wanted to be a part of it. But after that, she was just like, no, I'm out. I have scheduling conflicts. I'm not doing this. Because it was like a day or two after they announced that they fired Melissa. Which now means my dreams of Matthew Lillard coming back in the Scream franchise are probably dead in the water, when it was probably going to happen in the next movie. It's kind of funny, though, because interesting enough, Scream 1 mimics Scream 5, Scream 2 mimics Scream 6, and Scream 3, in case you did not know, had a major problem when it released. Scream 3, because of some incidents around the time of its release involving schools and things happening in schools with weapons, that's all I'll say, and a massive one at that. You can look it up, just look up the release and look up major. Hopefully you got what I was saying around that time. They had to scrap the plans of Scream 3. Matthew Lillard was supposed to originally be in Scream 3 as the Ghostface killer, but unfortunately, because of the events, they felt it was not good to do what they were planning, and they changed it to what Scream 3 is nowadays. So having Scream 7, when Scream 5 mimics Scream 1 and Scream 6 mimics Scream 2, with story and type of killers, I'll say that much, and more aspects of the movies themselves. Having Scream 7 have issues when Scream 3 did as well is also kind of on par. Because I'm worried that they're going to just recast and start a whole new franchise, because I don't think Matthew Lillard's coming back now. So I think the franchise should just stay down for a couple years, or it should be passed off from Spyglass to Paramount. And yeah, Spyglass should just go away. They made Thanksgiving. Yeah, from my understanding, it was Spyglass. Spyglass made The Boys in the Boat. That's in theaters right now? Really? They made Spy Kids Armageddon? Oh, Scream 7's on here. I'm not feeling like that's going to release next year. Anyways, it's what it is now. So now at number 7, finally get to talk about this movie. Five Nights at Freddy's is where I want to be. Yes, Five Nights at Freddy's is the long-awaited movie that had a lot of issues, based off of the video game series by the same title. Recently fired and desperate for work, a troubled young man named Mike agrees to take a position as a night security guard in an abandoned theme restaurant, Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. But he soon discovers that nothing at Freddy's is what it seems. And speaking of, this has Matthew Lillard in it as a titular character in the franchise, as well as Josh Hutcherson from everyone's favorite Hunger Games. And a lot of great acting by a lot of kid actors in this movie as well. And an actress, is it Piper Rebo? No, she's one of the kids. Elizabeth Lale, she plays Vanessa, and she played in a movie that I have talked about before. I probably have talked about before, called Countdown. Death? There's an app for that. So she'll probably be reappearing in Five Nights at Freddy's in the future too. But anyways, Five Nights at Freddy's is kind of controversial. It has like a lot of 3 stars, 2.5. So 3 stars, 2 stars, 2.5. And there's not a lot of 5 stars. There's a lot of like the middle range. There's more 5 stars than there is 1.5 stars, but most of them are 3 and then 2. I really like this film. Personally, I was at a 5, and I'm a fan of the franchise. It's, they changed some things, but that's kind of what you do. There are some amazing cameos, and this is a movie where I sat in the theater, and I was thinking about its release, and I'm being like, this movie is kind of groundbreaking in multiple aspects. I mean, just so you're aware, this movie had a $25 million budget, and it made like $300 million at the worldwide box office, or just domestically, one of the two. This movie is such a huge success for Universal. It's insane. Like, this weekend for Five Nights at Freddy's, its opening weekend was busy. This was a small movie when you came out, and became a lot bigger. Like, Universal is a small company. I'm sorry, Blumhouse, not Universal. Blumhouse is a small company. They're getting bigger by the minute. Five Nights at Freddy's is their highest grossing movie, I think, period, and also highest grossing horror film, period, for their entire studio. Of course, it's like their only one that is like a pre-existing copyrighted property, but I still don't care. I loved everything about it. There's a scene where there's animatronics, and they are kind of just playing around and building a fort. If you have not seen it, you'll be very confused. A lot of people don't like that, and a lot of people want it to be scarier, but I don't think people understand that there's a lot more to Five Nights at Freddy's and the lore than just that. It's kind of more like, if you don't know the lore, very brief summary, there's more to the animatronics as they may seem, and in the movie, that particular scene really showcases one of the hidden things about them, and for me, it really shows something the games never showed, and tries to help you understand the animatronics in a different light, more so. And also, Matt Pat was in it, and he posted about his experience. They treated him like a 5-star actor, gave him a trailer, and he was on set for like 1 day. And like, that's amazing to see. We've had movies before where they brought in people like that, influencers, into the mix. But, showing your care for them and having like the actors come to Matt Pat and be like, a lot about this franchise. Can you give me any input on how I can act my character better? shows that people really care about this project. And for me, that is something I'm so excited and happy to be able to see. So, Five Nights at Freddy's, everybody. Number 6 is Gran Turismo, based off of the video game by the same title. Probably the most shocking movie of the year in terms of how much I liked it. Boy, is this movie, like, amazing. It's awesome. It's about a Gran Turismo player whose gaming skills won him a series of Nissan competitions to become an actual professional race car driver, and it's true. It's based off of a true story. The actual driver was his own stunt double in the entire film. It's such a cool concept. It's such a good movie. I love the movie. I want to own it. I will be looking into getting it. I've been wanting to get it for a while, and I just haven't. So good. Love the movie. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I'm not a huge car person, and I love that movie. Number 5, Saw 10. I told you we'd come back to it. Saw 10. Oh, awesome, awesome movie. Between the events of Saw and Saw 2, a sick and desperate John Kramer travels to Mexico for a risky and experimental mental procedure in hopes of a miracle cure for his cancer. And there's a slight twist to it. I'm not going to read the rest of the description because it says the twist in it. But the first half of the film is exactly that. Just following John Kramer around trying to solve his cancer. There's only one trap. You get to see more of an inside look at John, which is really cool. Tobin Bell, by the way, is 79 when he filmed this. He's 80 now, which is insanity. Shawnee Smith is awesome back at the role. They're coming up with Saw 11 next year, so depending on if they have like a good idea or not, it could end up being really good. Like people who don't normally like the Saw films have said Saw 10 is really good, and it is. It's I have the first one. A rule for me is I would put Saw 10 up top as the number 1. But the first one for me, the first one is always going to be, unless it's drastically bad, the first one is what came before. The first one kind of always has to be up front. And there are reasons why I like the first one, and actual Hollywood reasoning and directing reasoning and dream reasoning. It was the first of James Wan's movies and Lee Winnell. And they both did exactly what they wanted and had their dream job, dream movie, everything leading them into the career that they have now. James Wan just came out with Aquaman 2, so, as a director. And he wanted to direct and write, and he did. Lee Winnell wanted to act and write, and he did. So, it's really, really cool. And I'm very, very happy with what came out of it. Number 4, another surprising shocker movie of the year, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, starring Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Justin Smith, Sophia Lillis, Hugh Grant as the big names. What a fun movie. What a fun movie. What a fun movie. What great acted. Enjoyable. All the way around. Awesome. I love the movie. It's good. There's my speech for the day. I hope you guys have enjoyed. There's not much else to say. I haven't played the video game or the board game or the game Dungeons and Dragons, but this movie was genuinely really good and a surprise through a lot. It just didn't do too well. I really hope next year they really think about it and we don't have too many movies releasing at one time. We already have too many movies in May of next year releasing at one time. But that's just the thing. In last March, we had so many movies last March thrown into March that something was bound to fail, and Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves failed at the box office, even though it is a very good movie. But it did. So next, we have in the third spot, we have Doctor Who, The Giggle, the third and final of the 3 60th anniversary specials before leading into the Christmas special. was phenomenal. Ncuti Gatwa, David Tennant, Catherine Tate, Neil Patrick Harris, amazing. Story, amazing. Everything, amazing. I just don't know how to explain it. It's just really, really good, and I love every second of it. It's awesome. I just don't know how else to describe it. I'm so glad it's in my top 3. I'm very happy with my top 3 for this year. Number 2, as I said it would come back, is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Despite knowing the knowledge of the people being overworked, I hope that they are proud of the outcome that they have had of their movie, because it is a phenomenal movie. Their hard work and efforts, and the fact that there was different theatrical versions among theaters that had different jokes, is quite insane. Different theaters got different versions. Slight differentiating, nothing that changes like plot points or anything, but like slight jokes that would switch and change and such like that. You probably wouldn't notice if you flop between them, but it is something that is really cool to know that they went out of their way to do. And I know that they were overworked, and I hope that they start treating the people more properly, because that's a very key important thing. The people who make these movies that make you your money, you need to treat them with respect and not rush. But such a good movie overall. Love all the cameos. What a wonderful movie, fun movie, just awesome. There's not much else to say to that. And my number 1 movie of the year, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I love this movie. Am I afraid to say that I cry every time? No, I'm not afraid to say that. I wish I could have seen this movie more times in theaters, but it's just 2.5 hours long. But this movie is phenomenal. Following Rocket Raccoon for the 3rd installment is amazing. I saw this movie multiple times. I saw it in Dolby Cinema. I saw it in IMAX. I saw it saw it in 3D, saw it in 2D, saw it a couple standard times. I actually probably could tell you exactly how many. Not like drastically, not like my Puss in Boots watches, because my Puss in Boots watches for theaters are kind of crazy. But let me look. 7 viewings, so 2 3D, standard, IMAX, Dolby, 1 at my local theater, 1 public, another public. And I just don't know how to describe it, and all I can really say is, overall, it's amazing. You're following Rocket Raccoon around, you're seeing his backstory, and it is tragic, and it is heartbreaking, but it gives, he learns more about himself and about what he has, and learns to appreciate that, and knows that the people around him care for him. It's a very sweet, touching story, at the same time being harsh and realistic, but also hurting. It hurts. But overall, it's a really good film that I really like. Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillan, Vin Diesel, Bradley Cooper, Sean Gunn, Will Poulter, Sylvester Stallone. The cast is awesome, and it's the only film, by the way, this year that it was profitable for Disney, mind you, which is a big feat, and it was barely profitable at that, but it was still profitable. Disney had a pretty bad year this year, but overall, I absolutely love Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. If you have not watched it, I hope you will check it out. And that is my top 10 movies of 2023 with the honorable mentions. Now we are going to get into, right away, my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2024. First off, I have a couple of films that are rumored to be coming out next year that we know very little information about. According to IMDb is where I got this mostly. But upcoming possible movies that I am excited for: Final Destination 6 has been in the works, supposedly later in the year this year. Shrek 5 has been announced, pretty much confirmed since the end of Puss in Boots 2. Pretty much confirmed that they're working on it. It could be later this year, but they also have Kung Fu Panda 4 this year, so maybe Shrek 5 will be in December or next year in March. We'll see. Having Shrek 5 be this year seems pretty unlikely. Last year, all DreamWorks had was Trolls and Ruby Gillman, and for releasing 2 movies that year was a lot for DreamWorks. So we'll see. Knives Out 3, I'm excited for. I'm annoyed at Netflix for holding the rights down and not releasing a physical copy of the film. Annoys me to no end, and I will hate Netflix for doing that. I haven't actually watched it on Netflix. Because of that, I saw it in theaters, and how they do their theatrical releases is incredibly stupid. The fact that they release it a week before it goes on Netflix is pointless. It feels like they're just doing it to get Oscar nominations. And then when they released Knives Out 2, they put it in theaters for a week, and it sold very well. Like, incredibly well. And if they had left it in theaters for even longer, they probably would have made back its budget and more. And it would have, like, made so much more money, and then they could have taken that back, and then people would have still come to their platform to watch it. But that's despite that. Cruella 2, the live-action Cruella 2, Cruella, getting a sequel. Definitely something I'm interested in. I hope it comes out next year. I would really like to see that. And then this one's confirmed. Joker 2 is coming out sometime next year. I'm not, like, super excited for it, but I'm interested to watch it. So those are the honorable nominations / special note upcoming possibly. So my top 10 most anticipated, starting at number 10, we have Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. I haven't really seen any of the Mad Max movies, but from the cast in this one and what I've seen from the trailer, I am very interested in this to see where this is going to go. I am very interested, and that's pretty much all I can say about that one. Number 9, we have Argylle. Argylle is from the people behind, what's it called? Oh, what's it called? Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. Matthew Vaughn. It's on like the tip of my tongue. Kingsman. The Kingsman movies. Kingsman Secret Service and Kingsman Golden Circle. That's correct. From the people... Oh, it says it right there in the trailer that I had on screen on IMDb, and I just didn't look. But it has those, and it's an Apple original film, but it was very interesting because Napoleon was also an Apple original film, and that came to theaters for a full theatrical release, unlike Netflix does with their movies. See, Apple, you can put it on your thing afterward, and they still put it on there, but they created it like a normal movie. It's crazy. Anyways, so yeah, I am very excited to see that. I'm very interested. Looks fun, and if it's like Kingsman at all, I will enjoy it. Number 8 is Red One. Red One is a Christmas film starring Dwayne Johnson. It's an upcoming American action-adventure Christmas film directed by Jake... The script written by blah, blah, blah. Sorry, the film stars Dwayne Johnson... Yep, Dwayne Johnson and Chris Evans in lead roles. Has J.K. Simmons in it as well, apparently. And yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I was looking. It was popped up with Wikipedia. Anyway, interested in it. Red One. Yeah, not much else to say about that. It has Dwayne Johnson, Chris Evans, now J.K. Simmons, apparently. And it's a Christmas action adventure film, so probably next November, next December, but they were filming it like last year, or like in like the summer of this year, which is kind of crazy. So I don't know when that's releasing. I'm guessing that won't release until like November, because I don't know why you'd release it in like any sooner than that, unless they release it in like January or February, which they could. I don't think it'll do very well, but they could release it at that point if they really wanted to, or they might just hold it. Number 7 is Borderlands, which is based off of the same video game series. Not much we know about that, just excited for it. Number 6, Despicable Me 4. I'm interested in it. I don't really care for the Minion movies all that much, but I'm excited to see Despicable Me 4. Number 5, Kung Fu Panda 4. I'm very excited for that one too. The trailer just came out, releases in March. Pretty excited. Number 4 is going to be Inside Out 2. Loved the first one. I am very excited, based off of the trailer alone, to see Inside Out 2 and what they choose to do going forward with this franchise that I didn't think was going to be a franchise. So I'm very excited to see Pixar's Inside Out 2. Number 3, Venom 3. I love the Venom movies. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen going forward. So here we are now at our top 2, and it was hard to decide, but I have decided to do it this way. So my number 2 is Deadpool 2. I love Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2. I am so excited to see Deadpool 2 coming out next year. And I'm excited to see, because apparently this movie is going to be big with the multiverse, and it's actually going to be in the MCU, be rated R. I'm very excited to see what this will consist of, but also, we don't know. There's not a lot we know about it. Filming's resumed. I'm very excited. And number 1, just squeaking a hair in, Sonic the Hedgehog 3, that's releasing next December. I cannot wait. I want the Knuckles show now. I am so excited to see what they have in store for us next December. And on that note, everybody, that is going to do it for this video of my top 10 movies of 2023 and my top most anticipated movies of 2024. So I hope you all have enjoyed this video, and I hope you like my list. There's a couple of things on there I know some people are not going to be happy with, which it's what it is at this point. There's not much, that I'm sorry if you don't like it. It's my opinions, of course. Barbie's probably going to be the one that upsets most people, and not being even in my top 20, and in the lower 60s. But still, I hope you all have enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye. Whoa, I'm sorry. That was a little bit jolting, wasn't it? Just me here, editing Doom, with a little interjection. On New Year's Eve, I watched Godzilla -1. And I do want to say that would probably be close toward the top, if not in my top 10, which would push everything down 1. I'm not going to do a full review here, but that movie is amazing. I just didn't watch it before I recorded this video, so I couldn't include it. But now I'm going to just insert it in here for you, so you know that one's probably going to be in my top 10 of last year. I just didn't watch it in enough time. So anyway, again, thank you for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed.